Here's Brody Brazil.
So I'm doing this video because I wanted to get ahead of something I feel like I already know is going to happen. In the next couple weeks, baseball fans are going to start watching spring training games. Soon enough, they'll see a ball or a strike that gets changed or reversed due to a robo-ump. And then they'll start to worry, wait, is this happening in the regular season? Is this the new Major League Baseball? The answer is no. At least not yet. They are implementing this system, ABS, the Automated Ball Strike System for Spring Training 2025. It's not going to take place in Major League Baseball regular season games this year, but come on. They're not testing this at this level at this time unless it's probably bound to happen for the start of next baseball season, well, the one after this one in 2026. Let me explain here everything top to bottom. I feel like it does need some background. The public needs some details on this because they're going to be shocked, I think, at the implementation of how much baseball has changed and some of the new features and rules that I think will eventually take place. The official name of this new system, which is going to be used in 60% of 2025 spring training games in Arizona and Florida, the official name is the Automated Ball Strike System, ABS, presented by T-Mobile. It's sponsored already? I mean, you know this thing is going to happen now for sure. If it's already got a sponsor, it's definitely going to happen in 2026. And I don't really know how to feel about the sponsorship side of this. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's too much part of the game. Should that be sponsored? Should that really be a sponsored element? Should every pitching change be an official sponsored element? I know it is on a broadcast, but not actually as baseball considers it an official sponsorship. It's kind of interesting, right? Anyway, they'll start testing this out, 60% of games in this spring training in the next couple weeks. And yeah, it's to determine whether it's suitable for Major League Baseball. Now, this will be the first time Major League Baseball players are using this system. Minor league players at the AAA level, they've been doing it now for a couple years. I'll get into that in just a second. It's also important you know a couple details about the new rules, about this new system. This is not robo-umps calling every single pitch of the game. And I wanted to make that clear because, like I said, I want to get ahead of this. I know a lot of baseball fans are going to say, wait, what? Every pitch is now with the computer and there's no need for a home plate umpire? That's not true at all. What you have here is the ability to challenge 2 ball or strike calls per game. Now, you get to keep your challenge if you were right. Essentially, you can't be wrong more than twice, otherwise you have no more challenges remaining. If you challenge and you get it right, you get to keep your challenge. That's probably the easiest way to say it. All of this is backed by the same Hawkeye technology that's widely used in tennis. You've seen that before. Is the ball in or is it out? They have the instant ability to show that to you on the screen, like at the tennis stadium, and also live on the broadcast. And yeah, football has started to use this too. They were thinking about, in fact, totally replacing the chain gang so that there was no actual chain on the field. It would all be done via Hawkeye technology, but they've kind of stepped back from that for just now. The NFL relying on tradition and some of the analog ways of doing things for just a little bit longer. They're not ready to go full scale into that yet. But here's what's clear to me. Minor League Baseball at the AAA level, the highest level of minor league baseball, they've been testing this current system, which is now being tested on major leaguers in spring training. They've been doing this since the start of the 2023 minor league season. And now that MLB is adopting it even for 60% of spring training games, it's pretty obvious, right, that this is now going to happen for sure in the 2026 Major League season. And this is right ahead of the new collective bargaining agreement. So maybe they're trying to slide it in before there's some back and forth there. Who knows? I mean, players might like this. Maybe players don't like this. I'll tell you what, players have entire control over this because this is only the batter, the pitcher, and the catcher. They're the only ones that can do the challenge of an umpire's ball or strike call. Nobody else can do this. And by the way they do this, they tap their head, right? So instantly, and there is a time frame, they have the option of tapping their head, their helmet, or their hat if it's a pitcher, and that in turn starts this challenge, Hawkeye challenge process. There's no dugout assistance. which is interesting, right? Because you know there's going to be some yelling and shouting from the dugout, challenge, challenge. But it can only come from a batter, a pitcher, or a catcher. So it's interesting how MLB will try and make it official, how minor league baseball has been doing this, that nobody from the dugout can assist a player on the field, one of those three, to challenge a call. And you also understand too, right? With only 2 challenges at your disposal per game, you're not going to challenge a strike on a second pitch of an at-bat in the middle of the 4th inning. Like, it has to be a pretty decisive strike 3 or ball 4 call, right? Why else would you waste it? Unless you absolutely knew that a ball was actually a strike or a strike was actually a ball, or vice versa. Hawkeye is that technology, and again, it's instantly available on your screen, so there's no waiting and rendering, and there's no delay on this. You challenge, okay. In 5 to 10 seconds, they show it up there on the big screen. They also have it live on the broadcast. Everybody instantly gets to see, was it a strike? Was it a ball? Was it confirmed, or was it overruled? When they did this, right, in minor league games, they did the average of games where there were challenges and games where there were not challenges. Games that had challenges were longer by 17 seconds. And the fact that we're going to that granular level of seconds on average of a game, it's totally worth it to implement this, in my opinion, because, again, if that's on average, this is not adding anything legitimate to the time and the length of a baseball game. Here's a couple more details, things you should know before you see all this happen. 51% of challenges in 2024 were overturned. You're thinking, wait, is that a big number? Well, it's 50-50. Well, actually, it's not. It's 51-49, but 51% of the time. So only 1% more of the time than not, challenges were overturned. It just goes to show you that half the time, challenges are confirmed. Well, a little bit less than half, and then a little bit more than half, they're overturned. So it slightly favors the overturn call, but not by much. We're not talking 70-30. We're not talking 60-40. We're talking 51-49. So what does that say about the accuracy of umpires? Southwest Research Institute. They have collected the manual measurements of every Major League Baseball player. All the biomechanics of a player, their height, their dimensions, all of that stuff. They're doing that so that every Major League batter can have their own unique strike zone height, because it wouldn't be fair. And I know the comparison has already been made. Do you have the same strike zone for Altuve as you do for Aaron Judge? They're 2 tremendously different heights. So the way it works is like this. The strike zone width is the home plate width of 17 inches. That's understandable. The strike zone depth, right? You think about a curveball and a little bit of slider with some tilt and some depth to it. Well, the strike zone is going to be 8.5 inches from the front of where the home plate breaks into the V, and obviously from the middle of home plate. You can see it right there to the very tip of home plate, the catcher side of home plate. But here's the interesting part. The percentiles of height for a player determine their strike zone like knees to letters. Usually that's what it is, right? It's letters on the jersey to a little bit above the knees of a batter. So the way they're going to do this is the 27% mark of their height from the ground up is the bottom of the strike zone, and the 53.5% spot, wherever that is, around the letters on their chest, that's the top end of the strike zone. But again, every single player that gets an at-bat in Major League Baseball, they've got to be measured for this, so that every single batter has their own unique height of a strike zone. Isn't that interesting, right? We're getting that specific on all of this, and this is ultimately what you're going to see. A ball or a strike at the end of a call. Was it confirmed? Was it reversed? Hawkeye's literally going to be as simple as this. So I got to be honest, I know this is dramatic change. I know this is not something that everybody's accustomed to. Not adding a lot of time on the games. It can only be used twice in a game. I mean, there are some things to like about everything that's going on here and the way that this is being implemented. It's not being force-fed. I think the worst part about this is the fact that it's already sponsored. Like, give it some time. Let's make sure this works. Do you really want to attach sponsorship to a critical element of the game? I guess I understand the umpires used to wear those FTX patches But it's just weird that like umpiring or reversing calls or confirming calls is sponsored by somebody. T-Mobile's a fine company, but it's just the sponsorship element of it. It's a little bit much for me right here, right now with this entire process. Everything else, 2 challenges per game. I like that. I like the fact that the batter, the pitcher, or the catcher has to be the one to do it. It can't come from the dugout. And yeah, I mean, why not use this technology? If it changes the game to get it more accurate for the better, and we don't have to see the replay of a terrible call, and you know what? The umpires don't need to have their feelings hurt a bunch. If they got it wrong, let the computer tell you, let Hawkeye tell you that you got it wrong, and let's get it right. If we have the ability to get it right, let's get it right. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments section down below. Also, while you're down there, thumbs up on this video. That'll help me, this video, and this channel. And one more thing, don't forget to go down there and hit that subscribe button so I can definitely see you back here next time.